All right, fellas, we're back on our Pokemon Horizons video. I did not know what I was going to say there for a second, but we're back on Horizons video here. We've got episode 101, which is Mega Evolution versus Terastallization, or they're in the inverse. I don't remember. But this is a pretty good episode. I do like this one. It's not, like, obviously as good as the reunion episode 100, of course. Like, that's going to be pretty hard to top, right? But I think this episode's pretty good. We got a lot of good stuff and some very good cinematic animations, which I sadly cannot show here, but you want to go watch the episode yourself, please do so. And obviously, of course, watch it anyway before this. But anyway, so we start out with the Brave Olivine in the sky. Of course, last episode we had just gotten it back. So now we are actually back with pretty much the reformed Rising Volt Tacklers. All the crew members are here. And we can see that Murdoch is actually teaching Roy how to steer the ship, because it is actually, like, obviously him, Liko, and Dot had all kind of brought them back together. So now they are effectively the new leaders, new crew of the Rising Volt Tacklers. And, well, now it is their job to kind of man the ship. And so Roy just points that out. He's actually steering the ship, and Murdoch tells him that he'll get used to it over time, because Murdoch did seem to be like the big, like, second in command when it came to steering the ship. Like, you had Freed, of course, doing it, and then Murdoch would mostly come in as well sometimes. We did see him do a lot of that stuff whenever we saw them go up to, like, Mount Kamuri at Laqua and, you know, rescue the rest of the crew, right before Freed, you know, went missing, basically. And Murdoch does point that out, that they're the ones who choose where the Brave Olivine goes, and Roy does note that they are the ones at the helm. They're the ones now leading this expedition. It's not like they are, you know, following, you know, they're not following a lot of, like, the guidance of the adults in this situation. They're mostly going off themselves to rid the world of Lockwium, you know, try and reform their name, I suppose, and all of those things. So Roy is kind of the leader in that sense at this point. It says the reason we reunited is to rid the world of Lockwium. This is where we got ourselves a little bit of a crew meeting before we saw that last bit there. It says that's what we promised. I believe that's what Murdoch said that they promised to Lucius. It was Murdoch or Bloodlet, I don't remember. It says the explorers are still attempting to spread strong spheres which use Lockwium. And Alt just says, yeah, let's go and just fight them all. Let's beat them all up and break all the spheres. And Orla just says, can't beat them like that. I love this scene. This scene's so funny. Molly says that they can't be solved with battling, and Liko says that they need to make the people that exceed realize that strong spheres are dangerous. And Alt just goes, that's such a pain, because obviously, you know, you can't just, like, beat people into submission. You've got to actually provide, like, good logistical reasoning for things, you know, not just fight them and hope that it'll work out, because usually it doesn't. Anyway, so meaning that they need to investigate the dangers of strong spheres further, as well as the relationship between Lockwium and Pokemon, and that still they've been totally made out to seem like some kind of dangerous adventure gang. So Exceed, of course, has just completely ruined the Rising Volt Tackler's name, so there's a lot that they're going to have to do here to try and persuade the world that strong spheres are actually bad, and, you know, it's a pretty big uphill battle, right? And Ludlow, of course, with his eternal wisdom, to think the explorers have been seen as heroes, how very fragile justice can be, which is hilarious, given, of course, his alter ego as Mighty G, which I hope we can see more episodes with that, because that guy is funny, all right? So they now say, let's go to Narania Academy, the Orange Academy, effectively in the sub, which is, of course, in Paldea. So we're going to actually go back to the school a little bit and get some more information from there, and I think this leads to some very interesting things. A lot of like some characters come back, new characters technically introduced, and we're gonna get some interesting stuff out of this. I do think so. It says that Penny will believe them, and Principal Clavel and Gita as well, and they know that they battled the explorers when they evaded the Narania Academy. And Dot says she can't think of any better place to seek out advice about Lockroom, because it's a school, right? There's gonna be a lot of researchers, a lot of people like that, you know, and of course they do have, like, the trust kind of Gita and Clavel to back them up. So it's actually a very smart decision to do this in order to get some information, get some people behind them to try and, like, you know, put in some more research and stuff like that, right? And so, say it's settled, and of course we get ourselves this nice little panel with how many people even is this? 8? Good lord. Plus Cap himself, so 9. So cool. And obviously Ult does not know where it is. It says that it is in the Paldea region, so cool. We're going to be going back to Paldea. It's a school where they studied terrestrial evolution, or terastallization. I just kind of combined terastallization and Mega Evolution. Cool, whatever. So this is where we get the flashback. That was a flashback, effectively. So now we're back in the present, where Roy was actually steering the ship, and they're going to be going to the Narania Academy in the Paldea region. Liko comes in saying that Ult's room is ready for him, but doesn't know where he is, and Sableye says it'll lead her to him, and we can see he is very, very airsick, motion sick. I don't know what you want to call that, but you know, he's not doing too good on the airship. He's actually, Alt just doesn't like public transportation. I remember because of course he back like episodes ago when they first had that fight with the explorers in their like little tech demo basically of the strong spheres. Alt had gotten off a bus and was terrible, right? So public transportation does not do him much good, right? He gets motion sick very easy. So he thought he'd do okay flying, stabilizes, leave me be, and Meowscarada pulls up one of its little bombs basically and pops it in his face. Of course, Meowscarada gotta be a trickster. Of course, it's very funny. I love it. Very cute cat, very funny cat, funny and cute. And so gets surprised by Liko being there. She says that his room is already across from Dot's, and he says he doesn't need one, mostly because he gets dizzy, but he doesn't want to admit that. But he says it's just too cramped for him. You know, he tries to save face, saying that it's too cramped. He likes to be explorative, but really it's just because he gets sick way too easy. She says they can find another room for him, and that he wants I believe the captain's area, or at least a similar room to it where you can kind of see out like the entire ship. And this is actually the room that Diana stayed in, Liko's grandmother, which is pretty, I don't know why it's too significant, but I think it is cool to see that we get these flashbacks of these characters. You know, they're still remembering these characters, the memories that they made and stuff like that. It's not like Diana's been completely forgotten since effectively the entire thing with Ristal, right? I believe it's the last time we actually saw anything of her. So, you know, still keeping her in the background there, but keeping it known that she still exists, basically. It says that you can see the sky, and well, there we go. I believe that is the Paldea region. So we get the intro and then the title. Fights TERSTAL versus Mega Evolution. So this is going to be an interesting fight for sure. So there is the Nirania Academy. Alt knows it's huge because, of course, he's always just been like pretty much a forest kid. I guess, you know, he's also trained in the Kalos region, but I mean, if he trained in the Kalos region, he would have had to go under the Mega Evolution Guru, right? Is it Gherkin? Hold on, I need to actually look that up, make sure I'm getting that correct. Yeah, Gherkin. So like you would have thought you would have had to train under him, which of course he is in I guess Shelor City. How can I find it? You know, the big ass tower, right? Tower of Mastery, that's what it was. You would have thought he would have gone to this thing, but it seems maybe not. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Anyway, so this is the Nirania Academy. It's huge. There's a sort of nostalgia of being back here, and Dot is kind of like trying to talk to herself a little bit, trying to prepare how to talk to Gita and Clavel about Lockwium, what it is, and like why it's dangerous. Because you gotta obviously kind of be prepared for this stuff. You can't just go in there and say, "Oh, this shit's dangerous," and kind of go away. You gotta explain it. Got to be a little bit professional about it, and it makes sense. So that she's worried about being able to properly explain the material of Lockwium to the staff properly. And Liko says it's all interesting, and to just explain it as if she was making a Nito thing video, which I wouldn't take that to its most literal conclusion, but of course Dot does get a good bit more. She gets a lot better at explaining things pretty much whenever she's Nito thing, right? Like she doesn't think like over stress about it too much. She obviously makes it goofy, but she can still convey information very well. And she of course is conveying information very well a lot of times in her videos when she's asking people to try and, you know, tell her about like weird sightings they're seeing or legendary Pokemon and stuff like that. So she does have a good way to like get information out that way. And so we do come back to the Brave Olivine. They ask if they'll be okay on their own, and that I believe it was Murdoch that says that he was the one that encouraged them to do it on their own. And of course, Lelo again with his little fun quips here. The Happiny is what that is. We must cherish, must be made to face the world, and that they are the ones who are most suited to tell all about the Lockwium, and that they'll go protect the ship. You know, get the race ship for takeoff, and also go out shopping. So. Not going to be doing too much here. They're just going to be doing the basic maintenance. I do wonder if that's going to come back as a point later. A little bit interested in that, but I guess we'll just have to see probably next episode, right? Then we have Gita and Clavel talking to our group here. We do actually just go straight up to the board office, basically, saying it has been quite some time since they've seen each other. Could that be a new friend? It is Alt, of course, with his Sableye, and you know, pleasure to meet you. And apparently Alt has got the hots for Gita. It's okay, you know. He's definitely been definitely not given that reaction to a lot of the other characters here, a lot of the other female characters here, right? He's definitely given the kind of opposite vibe, you know, very awkward around women. But in this case, poof, oh boy, I think homie's interested. All right. Anyway, it says Gita's a representative of the Pokemon League and a top champion, saying that she is basically the strongest champion, which, you know, cool, right? She notes that Liko's Meowscarada Floragato has evolved into Meowscarada, and that Roy gained Lucario. So, of course, I love Meowscarato's pose. It looks so stupid. It's funny. And Clavel just knows that they have become a lot stronger. Now we get a little bit more serious here. Gita notes that they have heard that the rumors about the rising Volt Tacklers being bad people and stuff, and they say that Exceed is basically making up nonsense and spreading those rumors, and they're not true. Clavel says that they are well aware, and that they have, and Gita says that they haven't shaken their trust in them, because obviously they dealt with it the last time. We had them, of course. What was her damn name? I forget her name every single time. Gotta find it. Chouse. Yeah, I've done this like 4 times in these videos so far. Like anytime this character appears, I don't remember her damn name. But yeah, Chouse, right? So she was the one that like hacked into the system last time, and obviously not the good. So of course Paldea is gonna be a little bit more iffy on the Explorers and Exceed as a whole. Makes sense. And so Clavel pulls up a TV, asking them to present the information that they have, and Dot kind of just summarizes the existence of Lockwium, how it makes Pokemon go extremely aggressive. They're surrounded in a pink haze. The effects were caused by Lockwium, which were crystals that were on Mount Kamuri, and they believe Lockwium is being used by Exceed to enhance the strength of Pokemon, and they're using things called Strong Spheres, which are good at giving power, but they cause great strain to the Pokemon, make them tire out quickly, and there have been cases where they stop listening to trainer orders. So, obviously, some good, some bad, mostly bad. And so they do say they understand, but they would like to have a more thorough understanding, and that they want them to consider the measures to pursue once they have received more detailed data and video proof. So they do need more evidence of stuff with Lockwium, which we will go into in a little bit, but I say a little bit, it's going to be quite a while, but we'll get to that point when we get to it. And so they say that they need more data. And in addition, they need to investigate the relationship between Lockwium and Pokemon. And they say they'll introduce him to the right person to ask, which is Jacques. I don't believe Jacques has been in the anime thus far, so this is the first time we're actually going to be seeing him here. So nice to see him in the episodes here. He was, of course, in the games, he actually ended up coming to Kitakami, right? So we could see him definitely pursue like other regions. It's definitely within like his character as a researcher for the most part. I think that's highly intriguing research material, and that they will work with Dot and the rest of the Rising Volt Tacklers in order to actually get this information. They don't know anything, and the principal said they should come to speak with him, and that he said he used to be a Pokemon biology researcher, and that Clavel was also one of his like researching partners, and that's why they knew so much about the relationship between Pokemon Area Zero and Terrapagos, saying it was so much fun researching Pokemon with him day in and day out. And then we end up cutting to Alt just being in the middle of the school, following an aroma of scents, and this will play a little bit later. But we have Terrapagos here. You can see the Steelixes with the Lockwium around them, and they're showing this all to Jacques so he can get a better understanding of what the Lockwium is, and that Terrapagos can actually purify the Lockwium. Again, cutting back. We get these like cutaway frames here between like Jacques talking to the group, and then Alt here eating food, and Dendrick catches his ass. Oh boy. So he's not a student here, and they end up just booking it. And then the Mona comes in, just this is so funny. I love this sequence. I wish I could actually play the video. But he runs out as Nemona's coming in. Nemona gets told to stop him, and they both just start chasing each other effectively. And Jacques says, you believe that the effects of Lockwium are what cause Pokemon to turn aggressive, but they do not know that the full extent of what Lockwium can do, which I'm very curious what they mean by that, because if there is a certain level that Lockwium can go further than this, that is definitely dangerous stuff for sure. It says that sometimes it strengthens Pokemon's life force, and that is a material that simulates life force, which can be interesting, as Jacques puts it, but obviously, can be dangerous. Many crystals are found in various regions and are new and unknown. Yeah, there's a lot of these crystals too. Like, think about Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution was a crystal. I mean, Z crystals were a thing. They literally have crystal in the name. There's Lockwium, right? So there's a lot that goes into like all these researches of different like materials and how they could be good. Lockwium, of course, very unstable, at least in its base state, and even still, Exceed is not using it in a good way. And we can still see here that Nemona is chasing Alt, and then also Dendra's Hariyama. And Paldea Terrestrial is still undergoing further research. Again, Terrestrial is another crystal, right? So, makes sense. Then there could be some connection to Lockwood being a Pokemon paradise, and that's where the crystals originated, but he would like to investigate there if possible, even though Exceed has taken control of Mount Kamuri, right? Says that he's got it. He'll look into the effects of Lockwium on Pokemon too, and work alongside them and keep each other updated. So we do get to see Jacques, and we'll likely see Jacques doing some research on this, and that'll play probably episodes later, whenever he comes back with it, and we can see really how that research is I guess, been fruitful. Which, speaking of fruitful, we're going to get to that in a bit. And so they just now remember Alt and ask if he's got lost. And now he... oh boy, this is funny. He finally got caught by that Hariyama. So Nemona and Roy recognize each other. It's been a while since they've seen each other. And of course, Dendra as well. And though there's Alt in Hariyama's hands along with Sableye. So he's been caught, which is hilarious. Nemona knows that Roy has grown and that he's got a Mega Ring. Saying that he's bearing fruit. Yeah, here's a lot of the Nemona's personality, bearing fruit. Yeah, of course. There's that guy over there also training alongside him, and that he's also a member of the Rising Vault Tacklers, and he just tells him that he wasn't shady, and, well, they let him go. So, I love that whole sequence, by the way. That chase was amazing. He says Roy hasn't seen him in ages, and they should battle, of course, you know. Nemona, gotta love the battle personality. Says, sure, let me introduce you to my new friend, and, well, battle to commemorate the reunion, and then Dendra will oversee it. There we go. Fruitful battle. So they will use each 2 Pokemon. So it's going to be a double battle. And the first trainer that takes down 1 Pokemon will be the victor. So we're going to have Crocodile and Lucario versus Nemona's Palmot and Rabombi. And of course, she is pumped that it's a different colored Lucario. So it's going to have a fun time. Time to begin our greatest battle of all, Roy. This is a good fight. This is a really good one. Pokemon has been doing really good with a lot of these fights here. Everybody ready? Let the battle begin. So Lucario immediately goes for a close combat. Palma goes for Mach Punch, and they start fighting, like just punching and fighting each other with matched power and speed. Battle between fighting types, and Ult says that Nemona isn't half bad, but she's also a league champion trainer. Makes sense. So Lucario, Palma, pretty much evenly matched there. And then Rabombi go ahead and gives, what is this, Pollen? I believe this is Pollen Puff, right? Pollen Puff tends to, if you use it on your ally, you get a lot of healing. If you use it on the enemy, it does a lot of damage. So Rabombi goes for a Pollen Puff on Palmot there, heals it up, which, of course, big advantage. And so they said they're not going to let it heal up anymore, goes for Flame Charge on it. And so now they go for a Pollen Puff on Crocodile, and it eats it, and, well, black smoke. Funny. As if Crocodile is okay, but of course, you know, it just munched down on an explosive bomb, basically, so that's fun. Dot does note that Pollen Puff is a move that heals allies, but will change up and damage enemies. So she does get a call from Penny as well, saying that she's at the school and that they should talk about something. She says she's on the battlegrounds and to come to her room where it is less noisy. So we do actually has to go to the dorms, but we'll see inside Penny's room a little bit. Saying that Penny is still quite a bit, quite pushy. So Nemona says that it is the chance to build up power with Palmot, which is going to be Focus Punch. Lucario goes for Flash Cannon, Crocodile goes for Flamethrower, and then Rabombi just goes for a Light Screen to completely protect Palmot there. Very supportive, very strong, of course. And that it got blocked. I love Lucario, Crocodile's face, so they're just completely stunned by just a basic protective ability. And so Palmot's finally full powered, and then it goes for Focus Punch and nails both of them, which is obviously really strong. I'm pretty sure, doesn't Focus Punch confuse? No, that's Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch confuses, I believe, if it hits. So Focus Punch, very strong move, of course. And then we get ourselves a mid-card section with Roy's entire team and the 2 Pokemon that Nemona is using. We do not know her full team, by the way. So very interesting to see how they'll put that out in the future, maybe. I'm glad that we do get to see Nemona back, though. Anyway, also imagine Arven. Arven just popped up one time randomly in the series and never again. So odd, so odd. Anyway, so Penny's here, invites Dot in to just show her basically all of her merchandise and evolution related merch, basically. Dot asked what she wanted to talk about, and she has been investigating a map of the Paldea region and observing the cameras. There are, I believe, all the observation decks, and all of those have cameras around them, and they can basically pinpoint a lot of Lockwium sign sighting points. Which, by the way, I want to say that's a lot of sighting points. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different points where Lockwium sightings have been spotted, basically in just like the south part of Paldea. And just Paldea alone, that is a lot of sightings of Lockwium, right? So, very dangerous stuff. And she says it could help in her videos, and that so she should copy it. That's very good information. This is kind of what I wanted to bring up, is Gita and Clavel wanted them to get information on Lockwium and like how it works with people in Pokemon. So Penny actually providing this vital information here for more sightings of Lockwium is going to be very, very helpful for her. So we can actually get that information in order to kind of convince Gita and Clavel to like help them out, let them research and stuff like that. And also Jacques as well, right? So we do get the little exposition here, points out if Roy lands an attack, Rabombi will just heal up the damage for Palmot, and if it attacks, of course, you know, it's got a lot of defensive abilities, so that's fun. How's he gonna beat that mega speedy, mega powerful Palmot's fighting moves? Yes, keep up with the mega speedy, mega powerful, right? So Palmot's still getting super strong, going for another focus punch. Basically, I just destroyed my microphone. Oops. Says, so Lucario and Crocolore go to run in and hit the Palmot, but she uses Sticky Web, and Crocolore goes for a Flame Charge here to break the Sticky Web and bashes Palmot before it can charge up its Focus Punch. Rabambi goes for another Pollen Puff on Palmot, but then in the middle of it, Crocolore just eats it, just takes it. I guess it's because Rabambi was targeting Palmot, so it would have healed it, but Crocolore got in the middle of it and, well, effectively healed up all the damage done to it. So very, 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 very effective, of course, especially when it took so much damage from the earlier Pollen Puff, right? So Dot comes back saying that they are still at it. Says that she was getting some information from Penny about the Lockwood signed to the Paldean region, and they will get a little bit of a reunion here between, I guess, Penny and Liko. And so Ult just points out, here it comes, and this is one of the greatest cinematics. If I could play the videos, I would, but the cinematic here between Roy Mega evolving and, spoiler, Nemona terastalizing is really, really good. Probably the best it's been. So gain true power, surpass yourself. We get Lucario's Mega Evolution here. It's Mega Evolve. Very, very cool. So Nemona notes that he Mega Evolved, that it's amazing, and he's bearing fruit, and she'll hit him with her full strength as well, and brings out her Terastal Orb. Shine bright, my greatest treasure, and there we go. Terastalized Palmot. Again, great cinematics. I love those a lot. Very, very good. The head-to-head battle between their trump cards. Of course, the entire lighting gets darker here. I love to see that. And we got a ton of people actually watching. Look at all the people watching this fight. It's really good. So Lucario goes for close combat. Palmot goes for Mach Punch. We get that little repeat there again of the intro basically to this fight, except now they're Mega Evolved and Terastalized. Then they're powered up with Terastalization, and this is the power of Mega Evolution. Crocolore goes for Stomping Tantrum to hit Rabambi. Rabambi goes for Energy Ball to neutralize it, and they go for the Moto tries to go for the ending attack here with Palmot, and Roy tries to get Lucario to stop Palmot. And Rabambi uses a crap load of Pollen Puffs, which this kind of doesn't make sense to me. I'll be honest with you, but it launches all these Pollen Puffs, and Crocolore just goes and eats all of them. Just eats them, and it doesn't even explode. It just like poofs smoke out of Crocolore's mouth. So maybe it's gotten better at like handling them, or maybe the Pollen Puffs were tailor-made to like hit Lucario's weaknesses, and Crocolore could kind of like take that. I don't know, but my face is very akin to Lucario's there on the right. That's my kind of reaction to that one. Anyway, Lucario does get hit with a stray one there, and Lucario goes for Metal Claw, and Palmot goes for Focus Punch. They hit each other, but Lucario is a little bit longer on the arms. I'm pretty sure is all that is, and actually knocks Palmot out of its Terastalization and wins the fight. Goes out of the Mega Evolution there, looking pretty cool. Palmot's unable to battle. Winner is Roy. So Roy did actually beat Nemona here. I don't think he ever has. I might be wrong, but I don't think he ever has. I think it always resulted in either like a draw, not necessarily a draw, but like a forfeit, or he just straight up lost. I don't quite remember all their fights, though. I'm pretty sure they've had 2 or 3 before this. So Nemona says that was amazing. She was fighting at her full strength, and that's her loss today. So Roy did actually beat Nemona here. Very, very cool. I love Dendra's line. That heated battle between friends had my heart leaping with joy. Love to see it. I like the relaxed Palmot look here. Poor fella, though. So they both return. Nice. So pretty cool fight. Pretty amazing fight. Says they never thought Palmot would be a fighting Terastal type, which doesn't make sense to me. Of course, I mean 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a fighting Terra type. We've had very few Pokemon here actually have Terra types different from one of their core types. So it was like it was either fighting or electric, right? And she honed in on its fighting type, so it makes sense that it would be fighting. Only like Freed's Charizard being a dark Terra type, which was literally just like plot device, but whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She says that she could sense the potential within Palmot's Focus Punch, and that and Liko knows that even though she's a champion, she's continuing to strive to be stronger. And while it's her passion, it's only natural. Of course, we know Nemona just wants to get stronger and stronger. And so she says, let's have a quick break and go again for a fight. And Ult actually jumps in saying to do a fight with him this time, which, sure, I would actually like to see that. I think that'd be a very cool fight. But anyway, Terastalization versus Mega Evolution battle was amazing. And Benny says, do you want to battle with me, Dot? This line is insane. Also, Nimona noting that Penny wants to battle, it just completely gives her just throws her a curveball, basically. It says, why now, out of nowhere? And she says, I saw a gleam in your eye, so I thought you were gleaming for some carnage. This line is terrifying because if you actually listen to the video, it plays like haunting music in this little frame here. So it's very very scary, of course, which I love it anyway. It's so funny. She pulls out her Sylveon and Flareon. Of course, she's going to be using a lot of Eevees. And now we're getting to some more juicy stuff. We got ourselves Zerk and Onya. Yeah, Zerk and Onya. Both on a boat here. Master Methio, we've searched for you so much and we haven't found a single trace of you. Where could you have gone? Even without any clues, keeping up the search is all we can do. Zygarde, please guide us. The biggest thing here, we have not seen obviously Gideon, Lucius, or Ristle because they're all, at this point, they're dead. We have seen Spinel. We have seen the rest of the explorers, all the other, I believe it's 4, some new explorers too, technically. We have seen the Rising Volt Tacklers. We have heard Freed in the last episode, right? The only major character we have not seen make a return here, or have not seen any trace of, no picture, no voice clips, nothing, is a Methio. So what is Amethio doing? I am so excited to see that. Amethio is one of the best characters in this series, so I am glad that they are keeping that one like under lock and key levels of secrets. So I am very curious what they are doing with that. And that is our to be continued. So, you know, they are still keeping it all up. Anyway, we move on to the Mega Evolution sequence for Nidothing, which is going to be Venusaur today. So Venusaur does get its Mega Evolution. Even if Oodles of Bug Pokemon show up, lured in by its scent, it doesn't mind at all. And it'll still climb a whole fucking tree, effectively. So very cool there. And we got ourselves, of course, the preview for the next episode, which is Dot actually versus Penny, with Penny's tracked on, looks like Quaquaval there. Not Quaquaval, Quaxwell, right? We say he's acting kind of weird. Battles, and Penny says her battles have a unique twist. We get Goldengo coins. This random trainer with a Capsicid, as well as I don't actually remember what this thing's called. The friggin' Bell Pepper Pokemon. This thing's random. What is it called? I don't know how I remembered Capsicid, but I did not remember Scovillain. Whatever, doesn't matter. So we got ourselves Scovillain there. This apparently the night met at the ruins. We got Terapagos, which I didn't actually get a frame of it, but there was a Charcadet, so we could actually see. The interesting thing about that is, of course, Amethio has a Cerulege. Maybe there's something there. You know, something about that. We'll find out, I guess. In the next episode, the night met at the ruins. Interesting thing. We're gonna have a battle between Penny. We're gonna have this random thing with Goldengo, this guy with that Capsicid and Scovillain, and then a Charcadet. Very random. A lot of stuff about that, but also at the same time, you know, could be some Lockwium stuff going on. Maybe that Charcadet is affected by Lockwium. We'll have to see. Anyway, that was the entire episode there. Terastallization versus Mega Evolution. Very good battle with Nimona and Roy. It led us to basically having Jacques do some research on Lockwium. The school now knows a lot about a lot of the effects of the Lockwium, and now our main goal is to be trying to like convince them to help us do more research. You know, recover the Rising Volt Tackler's name. You know, put a hole in Exceed and Explorer's plan, right? Basically, so. We can see some very good stuff about that. And I'm very curious to see where this goes, how much time they'll spend in Paldea, and what everything else is going to happen, you know, will be. And also, of course, Amethio, where he's at, what he's been doing, how is that going to go? We're going to find out. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll see you later. I hope y'all enjoyed. We'll tune in next week for the next Horizons episode. Yeah, I'll see you later. I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.